This is Joe Pryor with the virtualrealestateteam.com. And boy, what a day we're having. It's another one of those snow days. We've had about 10 inches of snow here, and it's not getting any better. And I'm here with little Henri. Let me kind of show you my secret weapon here to my videos. That's my little toy poodle I talked about in the class. And this is another video for the people that came to the media class. We're going to talk about Twitter in this class. The last one we did Facebook. And we're going to talk about strategies that you can possibly employ. But first, I want to make a couple of announcements. First of all, before I was going to do these videos, I talked to Harriet about, well, maybe we should do some hands-on training, possibly. Maybe we could do kind of a lab type thing like we used to do it in college. And I'd kind of like to reintroduce the idea of possibly having a learning lunch at the board. Now, as president of the Edmond board this year, I really want to do everything I can to promote education. I don't think we can have enough education. We cannot take too much continuing ed, especially things that help build our specialties. But sometimes having a little hands-on is really good. So if you're interested in maybe twice a month or something of that nature, having a hands-on lunch where you bring your own lunch to the board, bring your laptop, and we kind of do these things together, kind of like in the video that I did for Facebook, talking about how you build your friends, your business page, how to drive people to your business page, for instance. We could do things like that. If that's of interest to you and you are in the media class, please get a hold of Harriet and say, I'd like to do this, or email me at joe@joepryor.com and tell me that you'd like to do something like that. Probably keep those numbers down because there's a limited space there, but if we had a lot of people sign up, then we could maybe do 2 days in a row. We could have fun and we can learn together and have a bit of lunch. Just don't spill it in your keyboard, especially the drinks, by the way. I learned that years ago. The other thing is, I was on a webinar the other day. I do a lot of webinars. I was on 3 hours of webinars this morning. But I was listening to a gentleman that intrigued me. And he has come up with a code that can put an IDX solution on your Facebook business page. Now, this is huge, guys. This is a monster, because the thing about Facebook is if we build a real estate business page like I was talking about with Roost and their social media toolkit, we can post our videos there, we can post our listings there, we can have things like Altos Research, which is market analysis, we can have walk scores, we can do all sorts of things, we can update people, we can make our blogs go to that, we can syndicate our blogs, but we don't have an IDX. An IDX is a monster when it comes to your website, as I talked about in the class. So he's filling out the application for Oakmar to be approved, and if this is the case, then think about 600 million people and growing. Think about a tremendous amount of people in Oklahoma City and across the country that we could drive to there and get them into a virtual website. I mean, just a website just like you have, for even lower costs than most websites cost, and reach people through our social marketing, through our connections. I think it's a big deal, and I want you all to know about it as soon as we get it. Now, Twitter is something that also can play with Facebook because, again, it's important to integrate all these things together and automate as much as we possibly can. So a blog that goes to Twitter, from Twitter can go to Facebook. But let's talk about Twitter specifically at this point. Now, it's one of the 4 major platforms that we've talked about in the class. Google, which is, I think, the best because it's immediate gratification. It's people that are hunting for specific help right now, and we are hunting them. And so we connect through search engine optimizations, getting ranked on long-tail searches like we talked about. Then there's Facebook, and that's just where the people are. It's huge. It's getting bigger. Now with the IDX, it could be something even more important. YouTube, which is the number 4 visited site, the number 2 search site as web search. It's an extremely important site. And now Twitter. Now Twitter is more of a pure communication device. Obviously, we have two-way communications going on all throughout the web, but Twitter is kind of the ultimate instant message system. Now, Twitter has grown, as I said, at a monster clip. I mean, anywhere from 1,500% to 2,000% per year in users for about the last 4 years. It's actually growing faster than Facebook. But I also mentioned the problem that Twitter has, which is they don't have a business plan. And so really the innovations for Twitter, the advancements of the Twitter are really not coming from the company, in my opinion, not the way Google is doing or YouTube or Facebook, where they have a definite plan and where we have a more immediate connection in terms of real estate. Where innovation is being launched is through you and me. It's being launched through the users and third-party applications. So it's kind of outside, but you have to pay attention to it because of its explosive growth and because of its importance in terms of where it is in media. We really need to talk about that. Now, when Twitter first got going, here was your business plan for yourself. Here was your strategy. Number one is to tweet as often as possible during the day. I'm having a great day. I'm going to an open house. I just closed a deal. Woohoo! You know, I just broke up with my girlfriend. We're having drinks somewhere and it's a party. I mean, you know, it was any kind of inane comment whatsoever. So you tweeted and tweeted and tweeted and tweeted ad infinitum. The second thing, it was a race to the top. It was like, well, the more followers I have, the cooler I am. And so there was the race to 1 million, which was won by Adam Kushner. And then after that, it was kind of like, okay, that's been done. Who cares? So that was the original Twitter. It was just kind of a messaging device for you to share your day with people. It's certainly not that way anymore. And like the other sites, it's content, content, content. It's very important that what you put on Twitter has some relevance to something that people are going to want to read about. Now, I mentioned Twitter as a media device, and I wanted to mention something about the change in the way that we get news and the way that we find out about things. I remember, for instance, when I was in high school, and I was in the lunchroom. Everybody remembers this when JFK was killed, if you were around at that time. You remember where you were. You get, are they kidding me? Can this be real? And it was like, you know, stop the presses. It was, we interrupt this program to bring you this special report. Things came from the news. Things came from Walter Cronkite or Huntley and Brinkley. Typically, we waited till 5:30, but in that case, it interrupted and we found out about the tragic death of our president. Now, let's switch to current times. Now, I'm not trying to put this person in the same category, but let's talk about the death of Michael Jackson, another icon in a different way, in a different place. Normally, it would have been stop the presses, CNN, 24-hour news, something would have said something about it. Michael Jackson's death was reported on Twitter, and it spread like wildfire through retweets. In other words, retweeted, and all over the world before the news picked it up in any format, in radio or television, for instance, which normally fairly fast media is. It was picked up on Twitter. That is the way that very often we're getting our news right now. So one thing about your strategy I want you to know is that this is now, probably as much as anything, one of the most important news networks and events happenings that's out there. It's being used by business, it's being used by independent media, it's being used by national media. But first we got to build up our followers. Now, we talked about that race to the top before. Now, we don't want to do that again. We don't want to have a situation where we have thousands of followers. I was doing that. Anybody that wanted to friend me, I friended. You know, anybody that was anywhere. I don't care if they were a spammer or whatever. But I've gotten a lot more selective about it because I want quality over quantity. Now, quantity is great as long as it's quality. And again, with Twitter, just like with Facebook or anything else, we can build a database. They allow us to do lists now. So I can group either through maybe a hashtag type thing or sending out a mass instant email. I can send things out to people, but what we have to do is know who we're sending them out to. So the same categories: friends, family, previous clients, current clients, people that are just of interest, businesses, out-of-state realtors, everything else we were doing on Facebook, we should be doing on Twitter. Now, you can go into Twitter and do searches. You can search this for people you know. You can put in Oklahoma City or Edmond, Oklahoma, or certain types of search parameters and find who's around. I mentioned, and it's on your PowerPoint, if you got the PowerPoint off of the website that I told you about, and slideshare.net, and look for Edmond Media Class, local tweets, T-W-E-E-P-S. You can find out about people that are tweeting around you, and you can start building a local and hyperlocal following. So you want to build up those numbers. Now, the next thing you want to do is tweet things that are relevant. One thing that you might tweet is an important blog post about market conditions or a new listing. You go to that site I gave you, bit.ly, which is a URL shortener because you have 140 characters, and you can customize the URL so that when they see it, it's not a bunch of kind of code-looking stuff and extensions off a website. It's like incredible listing in Edmond, Oklahoma, or something of that nature, or sales are up in Edmond, Oklahoma. And then that way they know that there's relevance to the topic. A lot of times I'll go to the New York Times, or I'll go to USA Today or Wall Street Journal, any number of places, Forbes, and they'll have a link. They'll say, well, do you want to post this to Twitter? And I'll post it to Twitter, and I may add a little bit of copy on it because usually it's fairly short to begin with. And then I have Twitter trained well to go to Facebook, so I can put it to my personal page, or I can put it to my business page, and so you can combine things together. So do things that have relevance, things that are important. Other people's articles are fine to do. It's not plagiarism. Your articles are fine to do. That adds to it. You can even still make statements about things that are going on. And remember to report the news. Remember that if there is a traffic accident of significance on I-35 around Frontier City and all the northbound lanes are stopped, that's something worth tweeting, and that's going to be retweeted, and you're going to be important to some people because they're not caught in a traffic jam that they may be there for a while. Even things like that are extremely important. The ice storm and the snowstorms that we've had, the tornadoes, not hurricanes, that we have, those are very, very important things to make community reports. Hey, it's flooding here. Don't go this way. Things like that are extremely important for you to put out there on Twitter. So make sure that it's relevant. Make sure that it has local content, or sometimes even national content about market conditions can be extremely important. And then find ways of combining them together into your overall social media plan. Now, I had mentioned, and I don't know if I actually said this in the class, but again, it's on the PowerPoint, the seismic desktop. And I think it's SEESMIC, seismic desktop. Look on there. That is a way that you can put an icon on your laptop or your desktop, and you can control your overall social media. You can read what's going on. You can listen and pick up some clues. See if somebody's talking about real estate, like, I'm just tired of renting, type of a thing. There's another site that you can go to called Hootsuite. That's H-O-O-T, Suite, SUITE.com. And you can put that icon, and very often these are going to be on your smartphones also. This is a way of putting together all of your social media, putting LinkedIn on there, Facebook, Twitter, everything from one place. Just remember that we are shifting again to communities. And it's not the individual web page that's as important as it used to be. You're part of a community. You build communities. Twitter is a great place to build a community. As I think there's one more video maybe coming from me, I'm going to talk about some of the things that we can do, like with geographic farming, where Twitter may have some serious relevance. When you have a listing and maybe you have 20 people in that neighborhood, or you have 20 buyers going, I want you to know about the hot deals when they come up. Maybe you have a friend that may want to buy besides yourself that may want to buy. This is what's going on in your neighborhood. We'll be discussing that in the next video. I see that Henri, my little toy poodle, is just all tired out from this. Maybe you are too. Be careful out there. That snow and that ice is still dangerous. Hopefully better weather is coming, and I hope you have a great year this year in real estate.